Now these, for anybody of my particular bent, training, experience in life, this is the coup de grace. This is the smoking gun. It's undeniable. You cannot dispute what we find in the Serapeum. The granite boxes, they're huge granite boxes. They weigh, finished, they weigh around 70 tons. The boxes, the lids weigh about 20 tons, and they are precise. Now, we'll get back to, let's talk a little bit about these glyphs. While I was there, I had a distinct pleasure, while I was in Egypt, I had the distinct pleasure of sharing some of my expertise with Soha Mahmoud, the tour guide, or Egyptologist tour guide. And we talked about what distinguishes the ancient glyphs, or those glyphs that are contemporaneous with the manufacturing of the artifact. And Stephen touched on that a little bit earlier. And basically what you're looking at in some of these ancient reliefs is very, very, very sharp corners, deeply gouged reliefs, three-dimensional contours that are smooth, very sharp corner radii, inside corner radii, and something that is three-dimensional actually jumps out at you. And also very, very fine detail work that is similarly very deep, very difficult work to accomplish. And so we talked about what is evidence. And Stephen touched on that earlier. What is the evidence? And the evidence is not necessarily these scratches that could be put on at any time. And even if it's put on at the same time that the box is created, if it tells a different story than what the technology tells you, then it's just hearsay. And basically, it's hearsay evidence. It is, unless you have the person there who is going to testify to the fact that, yes, I was there back in 4500 BC, and I applied those glyphs, and just before that they brought them down, and this fella called Joe finished them off with a copper pounder. Well, I'm being facetious now, but seriously, it was really gratifying to watch Soa's eyes kind of get wide when I talked about, you've got to look beyond the glyphs. You've got to look beyond the hieroglyphs and look at the quality of the cut to give it any credibility, because the builders, the manufacturers of these items did not create those primitive marks. They did not create the primitive marks contemporaneous with the creation of the artifact. So really, they do not explain the artifact. And in fact, they could be very misleading. These are some of the boxes on the inside. See the size of those lids? But now we begin to look at the precision. That is a toolmaker square. It has a 14-inch blade, and it was calibrated on a Jones & Lamson comparator. It's within 50 millionths of an inch. And you can see you have a perfect square on the inside of this box. And just looking at the reflection in the granite, you can see the polish. There are no aberrations. The reflection is perfect. The surfaces are perfectly flat, perfectly smooth. But what do you have to do in order to create this condition? And we have the same condition on the opposite wall. So we've got this wall here, and then directly opposite, we have this inside wall. The same condition. What that means is that this surface and this surface, directly opposite, have to be perfectly parallel with each other. without any deviation whatsoever. You know how hard that is to do? This is not drywalling. I'm telling you. So we move beyond. We move beyond what was used to cut these artifacts. We have to ask the question, what were they using to actually check them? Because you couldn't have somebody creating this surface and not giving any mind to this surface, or giving any mind to the top surface that this huge lid sits on. Everything has to be taken into consideration. Everything has to be coordinated and created with precision using precision instruments. That's the only way that you can do it. And those instruments don't exist. So when you ask the question, where's the machines? I don't know where the machines are. Did they exist? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no other way that they could have created these artifacts. And, well, I haven't got much time left. We can talk about constraint management. When we talk about how long it takes to cut an obelisk, I did a study. The unfinished obelisk, Hatshepsut's obelisk, was supposed to have been quarried, cut, shipped, erected, in position in a 7-month period of time. So I did a constraint analysis on how long it would take to do that. And basically, it comes to about 15.7 years and 34 years, 34.29 years. And that's only assuming that you've got like a 9-foot depth that you're going to. We saw shafts there that were 25 feet deep, 50 feet deep. They were plowing through that granite like it was butter. There was not a problem to quarry that granite. But with the tools that the ancient Egyptians are given credit for, such as the work of Dennis Starks using dolerite pounders, the material removal rate that they actually publish in refereed journals has actually created this number right here. That is their material removal rate, not mine. For 50 years.
You're talking here with machining or with dolerite pounders?
Okay, these numbers are using Egyptologists' numbers. They're the results of their archaeological experiments using dolerite pounders. Right, yeah. And I communicated with the principal proponent of these methods, and he told me what his material removal rate was. He had published some of his material removal. On the roughing, he said it's about 35 cubic centimeters an hour. On the chiseling, it's about 5 cubic centimeters an hour. So they're not going very fast. And basically, the constraint analysis is that you have to look at the bottleneck, what takes the longest time or where your resources reach a constraint. And basically, the constraint is how long it takes one person to cut a shaft or a patch down a certain level. Just one person. And what the deepest part is, and that one person doing it, because there's only one person that can be in that groove at one time, pounding away on the granite. Only one person at a time can be actually there. So that is your constraint. And how much material he can remove during a day. And that's basically it. It's cut and dried. There's no debating it. 50 years. And that's the Egyptologist perspective. It didn't really create a problem for them because they were able to do it in 7 months. But they would have to have been using different methods to do that. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to close on that. We have a couple of other slides here. This is the infamous Petrie core that shows evidence of ultrasonic drilling where the groove wraps around the core shows that the drill drills into the granite at a rate of 125 thousandths per revolution of the drill, 1/8 of an inch per revolution. which is an impossible feed rate. And you can see it's a spiral groove. It's, you know, they're not just scratches.